A premium membership at chess.com will help you improve your game with full access to a powerful set of learning tools. Unlimited tactics let you practice like a master, with more than 50,000 puzzles to challenge you at every level. Our library of interactive chess lessons, created by master coaches, will enhance every aspect of your game. And after each game you play, the computer analysis feature will give you feedback on every move you played, turning every game into a chance to learn. And that's not all. Premium benefits also include unlimited tournaments, video lessons, the Opening Explorer, and much, much more. Upgrade now to take your game to the next level.
Welcome to the last day of Rilton Winners Cup. We have reached the final of this tournament, which it will be. The final will be played between Krishnan Sasikiran from India and Alexander Shimanov from Russia. My name is Jonathan Westerberg, and today I'm here commentating together with Dana, who is with us from Latvia, I believe. Would you like to just say a few words?
Hello, everybody. I'm very honored and happy to join this tournament. What an exciting day today, the very finals of Rilton Winners Cup ahead of us. And I'm happy to join this commentaries room today. I am sitting in Latvia. I'm a grandmaster, chess player, also the European Chess Union vice president, and a member of Vasa Chess Club, playing actively for the team. So that's why I'm also especially happy to join this event.
Okay, so we see that the first game have actually started. So they will first play one game with white. Alexander Shimanov will be playing white in the first game, and then they will change colors.
So 2 games. If it's draw, then we do have a tie break afterwards.
Yeah, if the score is 1-1 after 2 games, then there are 2 tie break games. And we have seen earlier in the tournament some Armageddon games as well. Yes, first, if the match is decided after 2 games, then it's decided. But if it's 1-1, then it's 2 tie-break games. And if it's still tied, then we will have 1 Armageddon game.
So we can see that Alexander has started his game very carefully with knight f3 and e3, kind of proposing the black ones to take the initiative.
Yes, this I think this move order have become kind of popular. I think the main reason for playing e3 is because of in case of c4 some white.
I can just take or you think that d4 is the stronger one?
I believe that this is the players haven't really found a like a theoretical advantage at least. But if you start with e3 and let's say black plays knight f6 and you play c4, you don't even have to think about this move anymore.
But I also think that it's a kind of a preventive move for the black's possibility to take on c4. Well, not all the white players like this variation when pawn takes on c4, queen gives check on a4, and then it's quite a dynamic game for the blacks as well.
We can see that he played g6 instead. d4, knight bd2.
Kind of a hidden fight for the center.
Yes.
From both sides.
But this is also because this is like a system that have been used many times, and the main idea or what white wants to do is to play b4 actually, and put the bishop here, and later play c4 and take space on the queen side. Normally, they don't do it from this move order, but let's say you can see some players play knight bd2 right here, and being ready to play e4, and then sometimes Black prevents it with d5, and even here sometimes they play b4 and try to get this kind of setup, and that's the main reason for playing.
Jonathan, but it's actually interesting that this game is the first one after the break, after the players have also celebrated the New Year's Eve. So yes. We are going to see who is better recovered from the big festivities. Yes.
Yes. Having looked at the players earlier, I would hold Shimanov as perhaps a favorite in this match, also because well, he have played quite good, I believe, and Sasekiran have been well, struggling a little bit. I think he won 2 Armageddon games.
But the last round was actually more or less equal for both players. They managed to win one and a half to half against Ralph Ackerson and Nabati Tamir. So
but,
they also had some time for the physical recovery and emotional recovery. And let us see who's better today.
Yes. Well, I think maybe Shimanov plays a little bit more on the internet also, or I think he have won some perhaps some other events. I don't know about Krishnan, but of course he's in standard chess over the board. He is the higher rated player still. I at least think so.
He's the former 4 times champion of India, so that's not an easy task to achieve. That means something. No?
And
so Black played a5. Was it the move that you said preventing the white side here for b4, or?
Well, I'm not convinced that this move is necessary, but the idea is at least to prevent white from playing b4.
It seems a bit peripheric, if I may say so, this a5, allowing to the whites to get the dynamics and advantage in the centrum. A bit slow because the black are still underdeveloped.
Yes, of course, white can of course play this position without moving the b pawn. Let's say if white is able to take control in the center, this a5 move may also look kind of silly. And already after knight f6, I've never seen this particular position before, I think. b3 castle.
Would it be worse for black to continue with a4 at some point, or still try to play somewhere in the center?
Well, I guess you can play a4 at any point. I think black will
try to play c5 at some point, but then
yes,
again,
maybe if it works, but it
then again also, a5 seems to be a bit clumsy.
I think also like a move like c6 is perhaps quite solid still, so it's probably a matter of style. Or you could even perhaps play with the b6 or something. So
developing the white square bishop on b7.
Yes, I think there are different ways of doing. I would say that c6 is well probably the most solid choice, just defending this pawn, and you have this well kind of structure get in the Slav defense, and perhaps you would well you would like to develop this bishop to g4 and or f5 and play with maybe even e6 and so on. I think white will play bishop e2 here.
That would be just a normal development move, castling, and then
perhaps we
probably
can
rook c1 or
yes, we can
queen c2.
Flip the board perhaps.
You prefer white?
I guess it's what we normally do to watch the games from the white side, maybe.
Jonathan, while the opponents are still thinking, what would you wish to do to all the chess players in the new year?
Well, I hope that they will be able to play more chess, since so many tournaments were cancelled. And well, I just wish for them to hold on, because maybe like for example the COVID-19 virus hit probably pretty hard to many chess players.
You mean having the opportunity to return to the over-the-board chess?
Yes, because many, well, I assume that many professional chess players are just used to play tournament after tournament and so on, and suddenly everything got cancelled. So, well, I just hope that the tournament play will start again, and until then, we have to perhaps stick to events like this as well, on the playing online chess.
But think of the advantage of chess over the other kind of sports. It is still the same kind of sports, even if you move it from the on the board to the virtual reality. So that's the beauty of chess.
Yes, you can always keep contact to the same game, compared to if you were I don't know, a soccer player or a basket player or something. It's difficult playing at home by yourself, of course.
And even though chess players are normally considered to be very strong individualists, I think the majority of them are still missing the physical contacts with all the other colleagues. Like, my best wish, besides the professional part, would be that we would regain our independence to hug our friends and keep them close in the following year. So, Jonathan, probably it's a bit more too much of the avant-garde, but would you think that at any point for white there would be also the possibility not to castle, but start launching the aggressive attack on the king's side, while black has already castled and the white ones not?
No, I don't. I don't think. I think he. Well, okay, we will see, but I guess he will just castle very.
I mean, with some g4, h4, h5, just to take the opponent by the surprise.
Well, you never know. I have played this kind of positions, and I always
put your king in the safe place. Yes.
Yes.
You haven't been playing too much against the chess engines, no? Because when you analyze some games with the chess engines, it's quite often when they propose some variations, leaving the king in the center, which is not natural for a human being. Well, all of us chess players have been taught since our childhood that you have to develop the pieces, put your king in the safety, and only then start thinking of the attack.
It's of course always a little bit difficult if black can still open the position as well.
Destroy all the centrum and open the positions so that
yes, if you push all the
so that
pawns
the king
on
would
the
feel naked.
yes, if you push all the pawns on the king side, perhaps a4 or c5 will come one day, and you might regret not having any safety for the king anymore. And of course, it's not so easy to break through this the black king's position.
Yeah, but you see that
well.
that white do not like the black do not like the white knight in the centrum, and immediately start working on that with
yes.
knight.
And it's quite normal to try to play this knight to d7 in cases like this instead of this knight, because when you take, in case of taking on e5, you will this knight will be threatened by a pawn, so it's much more it's much
flexible
more
and probably a more precise way how to attack this knight in centrum. But you see,
yes, now we see
even though we will be discussing that it's quite dangerous to think of starting immediate attack on the king's side, white has still
will he play f4 now as well?
That.
Perhaps.
Why not h4?
Or maybe of course
h4 probably is not solid enough.
Well, sometimes you don't really have to play perhaps the objectively speaking best moves, but this is a rapid game.
Jonathan, this is an interesting move. Retreating with the knight, while the black is still underdeveloped, and with the black knight retreating on d7, it's also somehow occupying the square for the knight, which is lagging behind, still on b8. And now I've got some ideas with knight f4, and probably really moving forward with the pawns on h4, h5, and still keeping this white knight as the potential attack piece, not allowing it to be changed on e5. I like the idea, this maneuver with the white knight.
I don't know, should black play f6, but then that's maybe not the move you want to make. Maybe then we will see h pawn coming up. I don't know. Well, knight f4 is the next move, yes.
It is a threat, yes. Probably, I don't know, I don't like this idea of going back and forth, but probably still knight f6 with an idea to jump to e4 and allow my my white square black bishop to retreat in case of knight f4.
We can. This is just an analysis board. Now we can see in case of knight f6, perhaps you go knight f4, and you will drop back with the bishop. Perhaps.
Quite a strange position and the opening, yes, but Then h4. White would advance with the pawns.
Or yes, you can also play g5, but maybe you can even play a move like f3. I don't know if it's...
Or Jonathan, f4, with an idea just to sacrifice a pawn on f5. It's tricky. I mean, because you're right, the white king is still in the center, and you have to be very careful opening the position with white. I mean, if you move the pawns too early, it might become your weakness.
Yes.
Knight
Black
b6.
can put the knight here on b6 instead, yes.
Black chose another direction, but now I'm a bit afraid that too many pieces have been directed to the queen's side, and the black king might get too lonely.
c5. Well, this is a typical idea, I would say.
Closing the centrum, blocking the centrum.
Yes, but especially if this pawn was still on g2 and the king would have castled, then a typical idea might be to play c5 and perhaps a3, b4, and later try to break through with b5.
Yeah, but now wouldn't it be too much if white would like to play on both flanks? I
yes,
mean,
it's probably too much to handle when you have played g4.
It has shown that the main intention is still to play on the king's side, and then just to divert all your play towards the other flank. It might be a bit tricky because if you're open to too many directions.
Yes, and this was interesting because maybe the knight had two squares, c8 and d7, and on d7, well, on c8 it will be quite bad, I would say, and on d7 you allow this knight f4 move, which is a possibility now, and
probably black's idea is to allow white taking on or capturing on e6, while then again the f file has been opened for the black rook.
Probably it's not playable, perhaps because of knight takes c5.
A tactical trick. Yes. You're right, I guess. Yeah, knight f4 would be answered by knight c5. Well, the capture on c5 with the pawn is not possible, not an option because of bishop hanging on b2.
And what black might want to do is to play b6 at some point, I guess, because he should probably not allow white to just push forward with all the pawns and let's say allowing his position to be cramped. Black also needs some break, and that should be well, if e5 is not possible, then it's probably b6, maybe even here, but that's why he played rook c1 to keep control. Let's say if black plays b6 and you were to capture and he were to capture with the queen, the control over the c5 square is important. But
now probably, Jonathan, because of your black's plan, it's worse to move bishop a3. Kind of a strange move, but in order to be able to capture the pawn on b6, if it moves and have the control over the square c5 and the rank and the C rank, C line. Because anyhow, my bishop is not doing anything on b2. It's still, it does allow some tactical options.
We can try this one. what I wanted to try with black was perhaps to play f6, go dropping back with the bishop to f7, and just hope that e5 is possible. I'm just saying that.
That sounds to be a good plan because with this play, White has not been demonstrating the consequence in their plans. Yes, so and that takes a lot of time, which would give the black the opportunity to consolidate their pieces and open the centrum. While then the weakness of the White king might become a factor.
That's this idea is, well, it's an argument at least for keeping the bishop on b2, I guess.
You're right.
But I'm not sure, because White played this g4 move, and it if you don't follow up here with...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, that then you're lacking the consequence. Yeah.
Yes, just move in the...
Somehow trying to sit on two chairs, you might fall in between them. Yes.
yes. We can see what happened. He played a3. I guess the idea is just to defend this pawn now after b6, b4.
B4, yeah. But then again, I don't really like that your rook is standing on c1. It's not really doing anything after capture on.
And well, now since black can I guess open lines on the queen side, I don't think that this
g4
pawn
is weakness.
It's not standing very well on g4 at this moment. I would.
There's another tactical option. I don't know if it works, but b5 in this place.
For black.
For white. For white.
Okay.
No, it's black's move. Sorry.
Yeah, it is.
But the black has to be careful of b5. Well, my idea would be promote my pawn to c6. Yes.
Yes. Well, it's.
But the natural reaction of black might be just taking the pawn on b4 and then on c5 opening the files and then, as you say, it turns out that the question arises where to put the white king.
I guess white will have to castle anyway sooner or later. But as this turned out, I don't think black should have.
So that happened already in the game.
Yes, they have. Well, this is the position, and it's black to move. So, well, I guess you have some. There are different moves you can play. You can perhaps f6, but maybe also just
Queen b8.
Yeah, move the queen somewhere.
Rook b1. Or not, or bishop c3.
I suppose white should be able to defend the entry squares somehow.
Bishop c3 somehow.
Yeah, you can play bishop c3, but maybe then a move like
knight c7, knight b5.
Yes.
Oh, I don't like the position of white anymore.
Somehow this. Bishop is not very good in this position. So
it might turn out that Alexander might have been too optimistic with this promotion of the G pawn. There's a saying: if you say A, you have to say B, but B was never said. Yes. I mean, with h4 or f4, or really causing some trouble for the black king.
So black could have played queen c7 immediately.
It's a solid move while the other rook is coming to b8.
Yeah. But also, like the queen Black could have played queen a5 earlier, but then at that moment White had bishop c3. So now bishop c3 is not a possible reply. So I guess the move Black wants to make is rook fb8 and perhaps queen a5, and he.
And the problem for White is that two rooks have not been connected, and it would force White to make the rook castle, and then again the g4 is a very clumsy one.
Yes, that's the problem. Black's rooks are already connected, and they have play on the open files on the queen side, and White is quite far from doing the same here.
So finally castle?
Yes, he did castle.
Okay, so what would I do? Knight f4, still capturing your bishop, and then trying to play f4, knight f3, knight e5?
Yes, but right, if you play rook fb8 now, then maybe knight f4 can once again
knight
be...
c5 once again, knight
Yes.
c5 once again, while the bishop is hanging on b2. Bishop from g7 plays the crucial role at the end of the day.
And that's also the problem now. If you play, if you were to play bishop c3, perhaps knight takes c5 is possible. So maybe
rook b1 also was a move after queen b8, because bishop c3 would also be responded by knight c5.
I guess White will have to play queen c2 or something now. Just trying to connect the rook and play bishop c3 and f4 instead.
Okay, finally it's coming. Now the simple threat, f5.
Yes.
What shall we do?
F6
or
F6.
f5 ourselves? F5? What do you think of
F6 or f5? Perhaps if you're ambitious, you would...
F5 would probably give the very important square of e5 to White.
But well, of course, the drawback with f6 is that this bishop is not having as much fun anymore.
So you do prefer f6 for the more flexibility? And f6 actually would also
you can move the knight also, maybe allowing f5, but yes, knight f6 and
knight e5. Or f5 and
knight f2.
Knight f2, what's that?
So he's defending this square and the pawn on g5. Perhaps, I don't know if he will push g5 as well, but that would well give up this square. So queen c8. Well, I think that this knight should be transferred, or at least stand on c7, h3. So White is holding his position together at least, but it's not... White is probably not having any kind of let's say initiative, because his pieces are still pretty passive, I think. So he's just
well, But you see, while they have been maneuvering, the time has run out. It's going to be the tight knot.
Yes, they have spent a lot of time now. And right, they get 10 seconds extra for every move. That's right. But
but the position is very complicated. It's not just, an easy moves to be made.
They have only exchanged 2 pawns in this game, so
all the soldiers are still in the game.
Yes. A lot of play for sure. A lot of moves to be seen. Well, it might also be that, let's say, when you play black, you might just think that you equalized very easy, but suddenly you don't really find the way here. How do you, let's say, improve your position with black if you were to make a plan? Okay, and now we see he's just moving his knight.
It's difficult when you think that your pieces do stand in the optimum positions. What to do then? Yes, you have to move.
Right. It's not very pleasant in, especially with just 1.5 minutes, and you find yourself your pieces stuck on the even on the best squares. That might even be even worse if when you can't improve. You don't really find a way to improve. Well, I suppose that maybe black would like to go knight e4.
But why didn't they do it just now?
Oh, right. The knight was on f2 at this moment.
Yes. I understand. Sorry.
So that's why he went back, I guess. And here black invites to a repetition. I would say probably white will try to avoid it, or they might agree to a draw, but
you could just imagine what happens with their nerves at this moment, because the final is always the most tense part of the whole tournament. So much is there on the stake. You have managed to get to the very end of the tournament, and then the very final games are always, I guess, very nervous, and the opponents are very careful, not to lose the game.
And we see that, Alexander wanted to play on here with bishop a3. So he's not ready to agree upon...
He avoided repetition. He avoided repetition. So
yes.
He is full of energy to fight for the victory, at least, to play on, waiting for some chances in the position.
Well, he might consider draw okay, but he don't fancy playing, let's say, black in a decisive game, perhaps. So he wants to just continue.
That's true, because it's him who does have the advantage of the color this game. The next one, he's playing black.
Yes. Yes, and Krishna will not give back the favor immediately in the second game. So
not from his warm heart.
Okay, but I guess white is not really making much of an...
This game reminds me of knitting, the grandmother's knitting. They're trying to do something with the pieces, yes.
Yes.
Hoping that something will turn out to be useful at the end of the day.
Well, I think what white is hoping for, perhaps, is that this c6 pawn might be weak in some kind of endgame. This c6 pawn can perhaps be the weakest pawn in the position, or he would like black to...
Yeah, that's the characteristics of the grandmasters. They are able to visualize or to see the position in the far future. I mean, understanding the structure of the pawns is very important. Well, you're right. In the middle game, you don't feel it being as a weakness. It's, a stable support for the black's position, but in the end game, it might be the very weakness decisive for the game.
And h5.
So it's like the game of the two flanks all the time. You're doing something, checking the documents of the opponent in one flank, and then checking the same on the other one. You know, trying to find the weak points in the opponent's position.
Well, white don't want to push g5 because that would give away.
Now you see some tactical trick. With the tactical trick, black tries to conquer the e4 square. The bishop is hanging on b2. That gave this opportunity of knight being transferred to the king's flank. Very nice idea, no?
And if you were to take, black takes
you
on
would
b2.
capture the pawn only for short time on e7. I mean, that doesn't help much. It would still be lost afterwards.
So, are you ready to go knight e4 now? Oh, he went back. Yeah.
Strange. Because now you are coming through c3. If
yes, so perhaps they will have a repetition here instead.
And there's no queen c2 because g4 pawn is hanging.
Yes, that's the problem. White have to stay and defend this g4 pawn, which is that makes it difficult for white.
Interesting. The position is very tense. No, it's full of tension.
And he played rook h1, but now knight c3 is.
I think it's very strong for black.
What was this? Isn't this pawn on g4?
He didn't want to have draw, but I guess that was a mistake.
What is happening now after takes and takes on g4?
And that's a pawn up.
That was.
Probably Alexander has overpushed.
It looked very suspicious.
Yeah, there are no tactical options now. What to do? You wouldn't play h4, would you?
Well, he will have to try to justify this pawn sacrifice.
With the transfer of your queen on h file, but as long as the black does have their black square bishop, there's no mate. Normally, there is no mate in these kind of positions.
Right. Well, even a move like f6 is probably okay here.
And my rook on b file, it would also be unpleasant.
Yes, I don't. I can't understand this move, rook h1.
I think it was a blunder. Willing to win too much, not willing to repeat the moves with bishop b2. Did not really sustain the provocation of black's offer to agree on draw.
But now he might just lose this game, right?
It seems so. I mean, if nothing happens, and I don't feel that Rilton is going to just, pay back the politeness.
This setup is very annoying because you can't really get.
You cannot attack
them, and black have free hands now on the, let's say, on the queen side as well. The queen might.
Queen h6, yes. Queen b3 or queen a2, whatever you wish. And the black square bishop of white is blind, and the white squares are very weak.
Yes, I guess king h2 or something, or king h rook knight. This is
95. Is coming, but I don't think it helps too much.
And we also see that it's Alexander. That Alexander is the one with the worst time.
Both worst time and worst position, and the material advantage for black.
And just positionally much worse also. And E3 is...
Now all the pieces are in waiting. I think he's just biting his fingers for not accepting the informal draw offer of the black with a repetition of moves.
Well, it's completely tied down now, right?
What to do? I mean, there is no plan, just sitting and waiting while you are squeezed.
I think even after rook e1, you can probably take on d4, I guess.
Yes, you can take. There's a tactical idea with taking. Yeah, just show it shortly. Taking, and queen is coming. Queen is coming with almost mate, and yes, mate too.
So, Alexander Shimanov did resign here after rook to b3.
Sasekirian Krishnan sustained all the provocations of Alexander. Just took a pawn which was most probably blundered by Alexander and easily won the game.
Yes, so this was the position, and actually, well, black more or less offered a move repetition here, and white gave away the game, it seems like, with rook h1, and after that it was just very bad and game over very soon.
I mean, since the very beginning of the game, you could see that Alexander has been trying to play an active chess with g4. That was kind of an aggressive move, you know, willing to win. But now, probably at this point, he didn't really understand that the position is not with a clear advantage for whites, and thus avoided the draw offer or the repetition of the moves, which led to this catastrophe of just blundering the pawn. Now it's a great challenge for him to play back with the black color the next game.
Yes.
Exciting for the visitors, for the fans, for the observers of the tournament, but might be very difficult for him.
I will just check. Vad händer nu? Eller vad kommer okay. Yes. Right. And Alexander, I know have almost always played the Caro-Kann with the black pieces, just having some very many positions with not so many chances of winning with black. And I do think Krishnan is definitely a e4 player. So I don't know if Alexander will try to switch opening now in the next game, playing something more
dynamic.
Something more dynamic, and not allowing white to simplify so easily. And I think the next thing now, very soon Nick Barton will join us here.
So the next game we do have in an hour, which is
yes, det börjar 5 eller?
Yeah.
Yes, the second game starts at 5 o'clock Swedish time. So
you still have some time for preparation, for considering what the best options for the openings are. And I guess you're right that Alexander is now forced to reconsider his approach, while he needs to win the game with black. That also means he's forced to take up more risk.
Yes.
Meanwhile, Nick Barton has joined us in our discussion. Hi, Nick. Good to see you.
Hey there. I see the producers just put me right in. I've surprised both of you, I'm sure.
Hello.
Happy New Year, Nick.
Happy New Year to all of you. It's nice and early here in the U.S., but I'm more than happy to be here. I was just watching the game actually. Really interesting.
So, what was your impression of the game?
Some pretty complex play. Looked like a draw there for a little while, sometime in the middle game, but really interesting perseverance for Christian on there. So yeah, interesting to see what happens from here on out. I guess the next game's at 5 p.m. CET, right?
Yes, in an hour. So we were just discussing that now Alexander is most probably forced to reconsider his opening repertoire, his choice, the black. Well, he is forced to win to still keep himself on the track.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is such an interesting event, to see all the winners from previous Rilton Cups invited back to play in such an interesting event, especially with the knockout format, which has been becoming more and more popular on chess.com. I remember we ran a poll recently, and it was like, what tournament format would you like to see developed on chess.com? Knockout won overwhelmingly. So I guess people really enjoy the fierce competition of the knockout format, sort of like the World Cup, right?
Blood. For people who do like the blood, yes, as you do.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, that's true.
What would you be wishing to all the chess players for the new year? Let's start with that.
Well, first of all, that they can, carry some of the exciting online play back to over the board play, hopefully, right? I think that would be number one. Obviously, being able to play with faster time controls means there's significantly more mistakes being made, blunders being made, and accuracies being made that can change a game. And I hope that we see some of the attacking chess that we've seen this year online come back to over the board play. It's been really interesting seeing so many players try to navigate this new landscape. And when you have tournaments, like this one, which are providing opportunities for players to play competitively, which don't actually have a bearing right on their classical rating, on their FIDE rating, it's really fascinating because you're having to find all these different pockets of opportunity, whether that be like coaching or playing, or now in the new era, creating content or something of that nature. Really interesting stuff. I'm curious to see how chess kind of goes back to normal after this, after seeing so many new players, especially start playing online for the first time and having never played over the board.
Nick, we do have this saying that every gray cloud does have its golden line. So
yeah, silver lining, right? Yeah,
seems to be a very wide golden line during this COVID times. Well, chess has switched to or transferred to the online mode rapidly. This is the advantage of our game as well. But how do you see it? How could we take also this opportunity of this high audience, these many new chess players joining online chess, really transferring somehow also them to the real time or on the board?
It's a great question. This is going to sound somewhat controversial to the chess purists, but I've been an advocate, and I know a few of my colleagues who work within Swedish chess as well maybe feel the same way. I'm not sure if they voice it or not, but I'm an advocate for bringing more personalities into the game, right? And what I mean is potentially bringing open microphones into the game, having spectators able to conversate, right? And having spectators able to be a lot closer to the game, sort of like how things were, decades ago, maybe hundreds of years ago, even when there wasn't the same sort of distance, I guess, both figuratively and literally between the players and the fans. Fans have now gotten so used to seeing players online who are, getting out of bed just like them to go play in a tournament or something. They're talking directly to each other sometimes in casual games. They're streaming and they're giving their thoughts, like Nakamura, for example. And that's really hard to get away from, right? When you go from that sort of intimacy to a little less of an intimate setting in classical chess, and specifically in any type of time control and over the board chess, it might be a little bit jarring. And I think in order to keep these casual players, and we've seen a huge influx of casual players like barely know how to move the pieces, in order to keep them interested and keep them engaged with the game, there may need to be some sort of change to some extent without losing the authenticity of chess itself, to have those fans be able to connect.
That we ought to make chess a little less posh, or what is?
Yeah, I think that's definitely part of it. There is something very like, let's put it this way. the Queen's Gambit was very popular in a lot of ways because of its set design and because of its costumes and things like that. Like, it got people lost in another world. So you can't take that away completely.
And I also think that one factor why people loved this character of Queen's Gambit was that she was not perfect at all.
Right, exactly. Yeah, she was completely imperfect. In fact, you didn't quite know why sometimes because she was so mysterious, but she was imperfect in so many ways. And it's funny because I've gone, you know, I've talked to a few media members about this, and they're like, "Is it really like that in chess?" And yeah, it can be. And I think we all know that, like, behind the scenes, there's drama like any other industry, right? A lot of people say like, "Oh, my industry is like high school or it's like college," right? There's drama. Chess is no different. It's not immune from that. And the point that I'm trying to make, I guess, is that, you know, it can still be posh and be engaging in the same way. Like, people don't need everything to be casual because the casual nature of everything has creeped into like society. And I think chess has its place as a classy game, so to speak. But yeah, definitely like allowing fans to be more engaged with the players, right? And be able to hear the players' thoughts. Things like that are really critical because creating these personalities does not come off as authentic. And we've seen a lot of like esports, for example, try to create these inauthentic personalities of their players, and it doesn't resonate with the audience. Chess players are super complex. They're interesting people. They have all these different facets of their personality. Like, let the fans see that more often in over the board play.
Yeah, but how to find or where to find the balance between the interests of the professional players and the masses? While I think that the ones who have been damaged the most by COVID as well, those are the professional chess players who have been traveling to the chess tournaments, who've got the income playing in the tournaments, and all of the sudden, there are no tournaments organized, and the limited number of online events like this one, like Rilton's Cup, is a very great chance for the professional chess players at the end of the day also to earn some money. Yes.
Right.
How do you see that? I mean, how to push the ones also who are not technically so advanced?
Yeah, there's always been
so that they can survive.
There's always been an issue. There's like this sweet spot. It's an unsweet spot, in fact, within certain rating ranges. And I know a lot of kind of mid-tier grandmasters probably feel this way and just don't voice it that often. Is that it's really difficult to find where to fit in the tournament circuit when, you know, there could be a tournament that you want to play in potentially. Like, maybe the financial gain is like, you know, let's say, I don't know, $15,000-$20,000 prize fund or something like that, like something you want to play in. But at the same time, you see a lot of like underrated players that might be playing in that, be very young, brand new GMs or something. And you're like, I don't know if I really want to play in that tournament. Like, it's not good for my rating because they really want to break 2,700 or 2,710 or 2,720 or whatever. And that does them a disservice. At the same time, they need to live, and they're almost too strong to be like coaching players, right? I mean, maybe when they're retired, they will, but they're too strong to be doing that now. So like, where do they fit in? I don't totally know, but I will say this. As far as like being able to balance the you know, the interests of the professionals and over the board chess and being able to let like people be engaged with it, I think a big part of that is just quickening the time controls, right? Because I think like when you're playing blitz over the board, I mean, because you're having to pay attention to the physical element of the pieces themselves and the placement on squares, like, you're in a totally different type of mindset where you're probably not going to be nearly as distracted by outside sensory overload as you would in a longer time control, you know, that requires you to calculate at significant, you know, deeper depths, I guess. I mean, obviously the top players in the world are calculating very deep, even in fast time controls. But the point I'm trying to make is that I think if you take those two in parallel, combine them a little bit, you're going to have a nice spectator sport that's bite-sized for like a younger audience that might only have 10 minutes, 20 minutes to catch a game, and they don't have 5 hours. And you won't have nearly as much disruption as you might in like a G90 or a G120 plus, you know, plus 30 game or something like that. That just isn't conducive to being a spectator sport, isn't conducive to the professionals' interests. But yeah, it's really, really difficult. We know for tournament pros specifically that are in that kind of mid-tier level to make a living in this game. It's so difficult. And there are also only so many content creators, right? There's only so many, you know, coaching courses you can make and sell through PayPal on your website or whatever. Like, it's eventually that gets saturated. And then you have to find the new thing. Chess is not immune as an industry to seeking innovation and needing innovation to survive. hopefully we'll all collectively as a community have a plan for that moving forward.
You mentioned ratings. Preserving their rating has been very important for the professional chess players so far. But I was just wondering and thinking of this fact at one point, that actually what you see now, there are two separate worlds. It is the ELO, the physical rating, and then there's the total different world. Even several of those, like the several countries, League Chess, Chess.com, other platforms that do have their separate rating system, which does nothing to do with ELO. So how do you see that? Is it for the benefit, or we should rather think of the way how to streamline these rating systems? Well, of course, there's one crucial aspect then of the fair play. Well, in the physical chess, it's still much easier to reconfirm the fair play principles followed. Sure. So have you been thinking of that? Because I'm just wondering that if it would not lead to the fact that if the online chess overtakes the over the board chess, that the topicality of ELO would decrease. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question, right? It's strange because speed chess is so prevalent online. It's always difficult to find that alignment where, like, blitz tournaments. I mean, you can have someone who's in the top 10 players in the world in blitz by rating, over the board blitz rating, who hasn't played a game in like 6 or 7 months. Like, are they the best 6 months after that? Are they still ranked number 3 or 4 or whatever? I'm not sure. I will say, for streamlining ratings for classical chess itself, and I'm not advocating playing classical chess online necessarily, but I do think that there is a path forward there under specific proctored conditions with specific players to start out with, to be able to test some rated online games. I think you'll see it in the near future. Can't say exactly when, but I do think you'll see FIDE rated games, classical rated games, in the near future online. And as far as streamlining those ratings across different platforms, across over the board, it's difficult because there are so many different factors that go into it, right? Whether that be like the size of the player pool, the average rating of the player pool, things like that. Like, not everybody plays over the board that plays online, and vice versa. It becomes a little bit tricky, and it's also not the same discipline. I mean, in a lot of ways, I hate to say that, but the truth is, and I've heard this from many top pros, like, a 2D representation of a chess game is not the same thing as a 3D representation, right? I mean, you don't see the board necessarily in exactly the same way online as you do live. And that's something to take into account. Someone can be very, very strong online in the exact same time control that they're slightly weaker over the board, or vice versa. And I think certain players, there are top professionals who maybe don't want to believe that, but the truth is that the data says that there are players who are just better online or better live. And I think being able to streamline those, what would end up happening is a natural partition, segmentation across online and live chess. I don't know. I think it's all, like, these are all super fascinating questions, and fair play, of course, is another thing to think about. I think that that's one of those things where, like, there's a ton of investment going into fair play in general on the whole at chess.com and elsewhere too, and FIDE, even over the board, right? I mean, if there's like fixed matches or crazy things going on, like, those kind of things have to be snuffed out, and it could become a big issue as the game becomes more popular. So we'll see. Hopefully, I wish I had a better answer for you there, Dana, but that's a tough one to know for sure.
Nick, I noticed that an agreement was concluded a few weeks ago between Chess.com and Gazette Brazil. What does it teach you? Would it be some events combining the online and on-site modes? As I very well remember, I think our nice fans events organized both in Sweden, where you were also participating distantly, and then here in Riga, where SEB, one of the sponsors of Rilton as well, provided their premises for the fans, following their teammates, actively playing, having them some nice chats, drinks, this physical presence feeling. So tell us.
Yeah. Wow, I'm surprised you spotted that, Dana. That's pretty impressive. So yeah, we did sign an agreement with Gazette and went into partnership with them to run our events in Brazil exclusively with them, which is fantastic because they have so many interesting retail locations to be able to run these kind of hybrid events, like you said. I certainly think that you'll see some kind of hybrid events like that in Brazil that maybe start out online and move their finals to a live venue, and have commentary on site and have influencers on site and fans that are able to, stand near the computers taking place like with a live event. You will see something like that. And I think that is really interesting to have some of the Wasabi's Pro Chess League games last year in sort of a similar kind of like digital live hybrid setting. It did set the stage for what our thoughts were when we were going into this and talking with Gazit initially. And it's interesting to see like trailblazing formats like that. Like nothing is off off limits is the great thing about some of the online atmosphere and the online landscape. You can just make this stuff up as you go. If you think that something's going to resonate with an audience, there is no precedent. There are no rules that we have to follow. We just say, look, we think this thing's going to work. And then the next thing you know, like with chess.com PogChamps, for example, you just make something up and then it just exists. And now it becomes a cultural phenomenon. So you will see some of that in Brazil. And definitely like Brazil is a big potential future chess market, depending on the strength of the players, which almost always leads the way in any chess crazy country. I mean, you've seen this in Norway with Magnus, for example, that once there becomes one iconic player, a lot of times that can completely shift
all the
landscape.
Brazilians would switch from soccer to following chess. Yeah, so
Let's hope so. Yeah, exactly. We need a Brazilian Magnus or something, right? Or a Brazilian Nakamura or something like that. So
do you really believe that chess is an e-sport in its current understanding of the e-sport concept?
No, I think chess is an esport reject, and I think that chess is like Among Us, or chess is like Fall Guys. It's like a very complex Among Us game, right? What I mean is there's something called like a meta behind chess. It makes it an esport in a lot of ways in that the players are competitive and they're able to move online. But the truth is that most of the interest that we get here at chess.com in terms of chess as an esport is that it's almost like risky in a lot of ways to refer to it as an esport, because esports are supposed to be so cool, right? So because esports are supposed to be so cool, and because according to people in esports, chess might be uncool, which is decidedly not true. But that's
being a nerd is cool, kind of becoming very cool.
No, being a nerd has been cool for like over a decade. And it's a compliment, right? I mean, there are very intelligent people working in chess who become very successful in life. That were great players and still are great players. But the point is that I think for chess to be an esport, let me put it this way: I don't think we want chess to be a pure esport. I don't think we want that. We want chess to straddle that line where it's in its own category, because so many esports are just trying so hard to be cool, and it's just so uncool to try so hard. So let's just keep it where it is. I like chess. I like chess where it is.
We're not trying to be cool. We are just like that.
Chess has been cool for like centuries, so we don't need to try over the last 3 years to try to appear cool with I mean, I really think that. I think it's funny because like a lot of people ask that, right? Is chess an esport? It is if they want it to be. Chess is an esport when it wants to be, but right now I think chess is just the best game ever invented. Simple as that. So.
What do you think about the market development? I mean, these different chess online platforms have actually given shelter to the chess players, especially this year. I mean, we've switched to our national leagues, even Wasabi. I mean, during the very first weeks, we've been playing the Swedish leagues, the German quarantine leagues. Joining the other countries. I mean, that's been a very cool development, but don't you feel that there are too many players at this point and the further consolidation of the biggest platforms might happen?
Maybe. Look, there are like 125,000 new members joining every single day on chess.com. That's a lot of people, as you can imagine. I was reading a stat.
What is the number of users now currently?
Total, we're inching towards 51 million worldwide, which this year we've brought on about a little over 16 million so far this year. Or not, I'm sorry, not this year, last year, Dana, in 2020. We brought on about 16 million new members. And look, I think that, it doesn't really matter how people are playing chess, where they're learning it, whether that be like over the board or on an online platform or wherever else. As long as they're playing and staying in the ecosystem of chess, that's chess.com's job, right? Our only job is to find where there's like opportunity cost and try to get people more interested in chess instead of being interested in backgammon or Hearthstone or League of Legends or any other casual, I guess, like activity that takes up time. The reality is that as long as we're doing chess a service to be able to retain players, which has always been chess's biggest problem, like keeping players past the age of like 14, 15 years old, if we're doing that, we're doing our jobs. And everything else is just game awareness. You can think of chess. There was a popular marketing campaign back in when I was a kid called Got Milk. It was a Got Milk campaign. And all it was they took celebrities, the milk conglomerate, took celebrities and said, hey, Michael Jordan, can you be the face of milk and say to kids, if you drink milk, you'll grow up to be big and strong, a great basketball player like me. And this worked. A lot of kids were drinking milk at the time. This was in schools all over the US, whatever. We're like that. I mean, we just want people to have chess. That's it. I mean, just chess. That's it. And the way that you do this is by outlining some of the benefits of chess. So for the very top players, or even for like more serious players, you want to increase your rating, you want to win more games, get better at tactics, improve your speed, whatever. But for people who are just getting into chess, like you have to give them a real reason. And the way you do that is by saying, look, it's going to improve your decision making and your cognition and your creativity and your social life.
Start learning chess in schools already, yes.
Kind of, yeah, exactly. It's like if we start making it more about improving yourself versus improving at chess, then we've won. And if we don't do that, and we all sit back and say, "Wow, don't you want to raise your elo?" People are going to say, "What's elo?" Like I have no idea what that is, right? So that's the goal. Yeah.
That's the best way how to prepare the future human being while the professions are changing so fast. You cannot give prepare a person for the profession anymore. You have to give skills, and that's what chess is all about.
Exactly.
Okay, Nick. So thank you for being here. Probably, Jonathan, you would be happy to ask some question to Nick while he's here.
Oh, okay. I was just
from a professional chess player.
He's like, no, I don't care. No, let's hear it.
Okay, I didn't prepare any type of question, but I was listening all the time. I came to think about, I think it was some quote, I guess, from the Amazon founder, Jeff Bezos.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess he said something like, I don't know, I only want to invest in things that makes a difference for people, like no matter what it is. But so that was what I was thinking about when you were talking as well, that maybe the like details here and there is not as you like. It sounds like some kind of broad. You have some kind of broad picture.
Yeah, I mean, the broad picture is, it's funny because there's like two different parts of chess here. There's the improvement on the human side, right, which I just spoke about. And then also on the tech side, which is largely driven by machine learning and in the AI space. And specifically when it comes to neural net driven engines, there's an entire community, an entire ecosystem of top professionals who in their spare time are building these pretty incredible engines, which can kind of serve as the foundation for advancements in other fields. And I think that that's another place where chess, like to speak to Jeff Bezos or other people in the tech industry, can find some real value in chess, is that there are a lot of people who are extremely talented who are otherwise kind of wasting their lives away on chess because they love chess. Admittedly, we all do. But they can make advancements within chess that are able to be used elsewhere. And you've seen this with Google DeepMind, with the DeepMind team and AlphaZero, which is now AlphaMu, which is solving issues in healthcare, and I'm sure will solve issues elsewhere, as like general artificial intelligence. And you also see it in open source, like with Leela Chess, for example, having similar architecture, and everyone's building off of this collective knowledge and improving engines and improving neural net based chess engines, not only for like training top professionals, which is fantastic, but also for like solving real world problems. So yeah, it's funny that you brought that up. That's actually a great point about someone like Bezos. Let's say, how do you get him interested in chess? That's the way to do it, right? Yes. If we want these big investments, that's how.
Well, I haven't really seen like people, Bezos or Elon Musk or someone like that, taking much of an interest in chess, for example. So
you haven't seen his last tweet. Elon Musk made a tweet about not everything is cake, combining cheese and chess. There was a cheese.
Right. Yeah, Elon, you'd be surprised. I'm not going to name names, but I will say this: there are a lot of top tech people. There are a lot of billionaires out there, tech billionaires, who do play chess, and they do play chess online.
Yes, and I think this is also the case, for example, in Latvia, or I guess that might be the same in Sweden. There are a lot of business people, of politicians who secretly play chess online. And I guess one of the reasons is that nobody sees, and they are not ashamed of not being probably the best chess players. And I'm just wondering if you do have the idea how to somehow encourage them not only to use the app hiddenly on their mobile phone, but somehow come out of the, box and participate more in also, yes, the on the board chess events.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of getting them more involved, it's funny because there are some very well-known people who play hundreds of games, thousands of games of chess, right? The truth is that a lot of these guys are just very, very busy. Of course, somebody like Elon is trying to run 4 different companies or something at any given time. But the interest is there. Getting them involved as benefactors in chess is maybe more important. And I think that chess has been, as you know, Jonathan, chess has been dependent on generous benefactors for many years. And as a commercial venture, it's always been really difficult to pitch what we call a value proposition. If brands come to us or individuals come to us, they say, okay, well, what are we getting out of this? Creating that value comes from just being a spectator sport in general, right? In order for advertising to make sense and be able to make some profit, there need to be more eyeballs, right? Which is kind of getting back, I guess, full circle to what I was talking about at the very beginning of the conversation. To be able to make it a spectator sport is probably the most critical thing for chess. To get them out in the open playing, I guess, well, again, it would take a little bit of free time on their part, and also maybe just convincing them that if they start playing more chess, their company will be more successful. Maybe we can start a campaign and do some sort of study or something that says, hey, good news, if you play chess and your employees play chess, they'll be better employees. I don't know. Maybe that's something we can look into.
Okay, but when you think about the other people, I mean, those who are not the very busy ones, but who have joined your platforms probably because of Queen's Gambit or the overall hype of chess currently, have you thought of some way I have to shift them to the on-the-board chess? I mean, suggesting them approaching some federations, or I don't know. Just give me your thought on.
I mean, the thought is that that's not necessarily our main, our main job. Our main job from our perspective is just get people interested in chess.
Of course, but for the benefit of chess.
Oh, it does. It benefits chess.com too. I don't want to say, well, we're trying to not let them do that. It's more just our job is just get them interested in chess by showing them how to move the pieces, what basic strategies, whatever. And if they get more serious, they go play in a federation. But we've done work with federations, from all over the world, where, as you mentioned before, there are leagues, right? Individual private leagues, or there are leagues that have been established over the board that have come online. Same thing with federation events. We ran the ECU Online Championship some odd months ago, and we've connected with all of the federations through Online Nations Cup, through the Online Olympiad, especially, which featured thousands, over 1,000 players. So there is a lot that we're doing there, but getting the new players involved with getting registered for federations, it's just going to take more integration of those federations being involved, frankly, on online platforms, starting up clubs, having a presence, let's say, having federation members write blogs.
Your idea is that the federations and the clubs have to establish their clubs online so that to be used as their channels.
Yeah, there are clubs on chess.com that have 80,000 members. Imagine if there's a federation from all over the world, different federations from all over the world that are coming online and are able to create events that if people are using a search function or something on chess.com and they're able to find the club for their federation, great, they join that federation, and then the federation says, hey, good news, you come and play this online event. Also, if you live in this city, we have this event, come sign up, come register, to be a member of the federation itself. Get an over the board rating, and that's how you get them involved with frankly more serious chess. But again, we have the tools for this. It's just having to put in the effort, right? And I think that effort it comes with when sometimes like federations, they just don't have the manpower sometimes, right? It's really difficult to say, hey, we have, let's say 20 people at the federation and we have potentially 500,000 people we can reach out to. That's difficult. That's a lot of people per employee or per federation member. So you have to use those online tools, I think, to be able to leverage that.
Okay, Nick, and at the end of our conversation, so do you believe that this great interest for chess is sustainable and it's not just another hype that would diminish in few weeks or months after everybody has watched the movie for the first time?
I remember when I got asked this for the first time, maybe like early November. And at the time, I was a little more like what I'd call bearish on the situation. I remember thinking like, okay, like this will like die out very, very quickly. Actually, I thought maybe it'd be died out. It would die out by like December. But I was wrong about that. We actually had over 1 million more people join chess.com in December than in November, which was pretty shocking. But I will say this, I've held steadfast here, and I think the company feels this way. It's totally up to everyone in the chess industry. And when I say industry, I mean like everyone. It's all interconnected. It's up to top content creators like Nakamura, or even sometimes like Magnus himself, who comes on and makes content. It's up to top players like Magnus and others to be able to continue to evolve by making themselves more personable, by playing fantasy football and things like that. It's up to companies like chess.com. It's up to officials and organizers and benefactors. We can make this last as long as we want. We really can. Chess can kind of break that mold, but it's going to take the type of, I think, aggression and deliberate effort that maybe hasn't always been totally clear. I think chess has always been, at least since I've paid attention, has a lot of times been like a very reserved game in the way that it approaches marketing itself, even, right? And we've talked about this a lot. In order to break that mold and break into, there are people who are interested. They might email me and say, hey, I'm really interested in chess. Can you tell me more about it? I sell a story, and I think everyone has to sell their own story of chess right now and make it interesting for that specific audience, or else we're all just lost. We're all just going to go back to how things were, and that'll make some people happy, but ultimately it'll damage the game. And I think we're at a really interesting crossroads now where we can take one path and go back to the way things were, or we can be really deliberate in our messaging to new players, get them involved and make things easy on them to enter the game. And then we'll find a lot of success, totally up to everybody here in this call and up to everyone else in the chess world.
Okay, Nick. So my wish to you is let you be one of the strong fires who keep the interest warm for chess.
I'll do everything I can. It's all. I appreciate it. Yeah, we'll do everything we can on our side. I'm only a cog in the machine, but as always, it's all driven by the top players. There's a grandmaster perspective here that I think can really go a long way, and really talented players like Jonathan, for example, can help kind of keep that torch going. And I'm really excited to see what happens with chess over the next year. It's going to be fascinating.
Yeah, I hope so. Thank you for this conversation.
Thank you so much.
Very good.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Cheers.
A premium membership at chess.com will help you improve your game with full access to a powerful set of learning tools. Unlimited tactics let you practice like a master, with more than 50,000 puzzles to challenge you at every level. Our library of interactive chess lessons, created by master coaches, will enhance every aspect of your game. And after each game you play, the computer analysis feature will give you feedback on every move you played, turning every game into a chance to learn. And that's not all. Premium benefits also include unlimited tournaments, video lessons, the Opening Explorer, and much, much more. Upgrade now to take your game to the next level.
Okay, you're live.
Well, so that was very interesting listening to Nick and all the work that is running. Coming back to this final, we got a message from Alexander Shimanov that he actually did not resign. He had some issues with his computer, apparently, which he hopefully have solved now. But right, so I don't know if well, he just wanted to to say this. And before we go on a break, we will just get the standing shown, I think.
Yeah, this
one. Right. So we see that, of course, Alexander Shimano will have to strike back in this in the second game with the black pieces against Saskia and Krishnan. And now we go for a break, and we start 10 minutes to 5 then. So we will start this stream in 24 minutes.
So
Again.
the second game where Alexander has to fight back, he's lost the first game, he has to win the second one with the black. Hopefully he has been able to fix his computer so that nothing happens in the next game. If it was the case in this game, as Jonathan has said, he has received the message that something has been wrong with the computer as the reason for him resigning. Exciting game. This was a very tense one, very complicated one. Hopefully the second one is going to be the same.
He lost on time because of the computer, not interesting.
Yes, so he lost on. That's why his time ran out, because of the issues with the computer, apparently. Otherwise, well, perhaps it would have been a longer fight, and hopefully the next game will be be a longer fight, and it will be interesting to see how this final ends. So, well, we go to a break now, and we will be back 10 minutes when it's 10 minutes to the round start. So in 22 minutes from now. Okay.
See you back here.
See you soon.
A premium membership at chess.com will help you improve your game with full access to a powerful set of learning tools. Unlimited tactics let you practice like a master, with more than 50,000 puzzles to challenge you at every level. Our library of interactive chess lessons, created by master coaches, will enhance every aspect of your game. And after each game you play, the computer analysis feature will give you feedback on every move you played, turning every game into a chance to learn. And that's not all. Premium benefits also include unlimited tournaments, video lessons, the Opening Explorer, and much, much more. Upgrade now to take your game to the next level.
maybe 5 against 4. So it's a little bit. It's more difficult being black.
But we have had already several Armageddon games over the tournament that it's not so that the whites are winning everything.
No, we have seen that the white player in the Armageddon game have spent a lot of time. And at some point, the time situation becomes equal. And, of course, the black player is the one winning if the game is drawn. So, but we are yet far from there. Right, so we are just.
Jonathan, what about yourself? If you would play this Armageddon game, would you choose white or black?
I suppose I would choose white, especially with 5 against 3, and that's what they all have done, I believe. The one who have had the choice have always choose the white pieces. Well, it's the main reason is of course that there are no extra time. So if you have 5 minutes against 3, and you can also play on the clock, let's say, or
time matters.
Yes. It would be somehow it would be quite different if you had maybe 1 or 2 seconds of increment. It would not be really the same thing. But when you see the Armageddon games at some other tournaments, you usually see 5 against 4, and that's what most players are used to. So I think everybody will choose playing white.
This is a very good game for teaching the people the decision-making process. You think, you analyze, you try to remember, but then you have to make the move. You have to make the decision, while the time is also an important factor. Doesn't matter how good the position is. If you are tight on time, you would just lose the game. So we are starting the next game.
Yes. Do you want us to see this from the white or black perspective?
Let's start from the white.
Yes. So we keep it like this. E4, and we did mention that Shimanov usually plays per the Caro-Kann defense, and we have seen some positions which are very simplified, and now he instead plays b6 at move 1. I guess it's the Owens defense is the most common name.
Jonathan, you mentioned that in your opinion, Alexander must be must have the advantage in the match, but nevertheless he lost the first game, so he had to be creative, thinking of the best strategy, how to come back and how to try to win with the black pieces. So this is what he has chosen. Yeah. It took more than half a minute for Sasekirian to decide how to develop his pieces, how to react on b6. You can see that this is the hyper-modern way of attacking the white centrum.
It was just my feeling that Alexander do play tournaments online, and I also know that he plays other kind of games like poker and so on. So I think it was just my feeling that he plays more online chess, or at least it's maybe his image compared to well, you can also see on their online rating here that perhaps Krishnan is quite low on his rating on this site, which is an indicator that he perhaps doesn't play that much here. But of course, he makes an exception for this event. And
so they are among those more than 50 million chess players now being the players on chess.com.
Yes. And of course, well, you are like get attention always when you are a grandmaster playing a kind of tournament like this. Considering that you can't of course become a grandmaster over the internet, so you have to
earn the title over the chess, over the board chess, and then you can have or reap the benefits with your title playing online.
Right. So behind their online play, there are a lot of years without
hard work. Jonathan, what is more important, talent or work?
Talent or work? Well, work. Well, there was some kind of saying, perhaps. I don't know what it was. Hard work beats talent, something. I don't know. Well, everybody have to put in work. You can't live on your talent forever.
I think that the best talent is actually the ability to work hard.
Right.
Okay, what's happened here?
Yeah, right. So
change in the center.
They had this Owen's defense position, and I suppose that c3 is the main move. But instead, he castled, and we get a position which is very similar to those in the Sicilian.
What are the white considering? Knight c3, c4?
Perhaps he's considering to play c4.
In order to prevent d5.
Right, and he went c4. He played this, usually we call it the Marossi.
Marossi structure.
Yes, Marossi structure and Marossi bind, and to have these two pawns on
Alexander is going to shoot with two bishops, one directed at the king and the other to be developed on g7.
Yes. Right. In this.
And then I guess f5 is following. I've been playing similar structures with the white in the English opening, putting knight on e2 and then e3, g3, f4. That's a very dynamic structure. So I guess he's going for that, which is less standard, more opportunities, forces the opponent to think, because these structures are not quite often to appear. Very nice for the rapid games. Oh no, I was mistaken.
Well, this, of course, it's a quite typical development in the Sicilian Paulsen variation or Taimanov. You can, well, normally we see the knight coming to f6, but developing the knight to g6, I believe it's a very old idea. And I don't know, maybe black just follows up with bishop e7 castling. I guess bishop e7 here would be.
There's no option to put it on g7 anymore. Yeah, and the interesting thing is that, of course, advancing the pawn, trying to threaten the piece on g6, f4, f5 would not help too much. Well, it weakens the e5 square. The knight would not be forced to retreat. It would come or intervene into the white's plans.
Right. Well, the struggle for over the dark squares here are can be.
There might be also the idea of putting black bishop on d6 and with the following. Yes, I guess so. Black is having bishop on d6, attacking the white king immediately.
Right, bishop d6 might be
provoking some weakening of the white king's position, while you would be forced to move the pawn.
This is perhaps a clever move. I guess in case of f4, he will play bishop c5, perhaps.
Yes. Well, then the white bishop would be overloaded, trying to defend the pawn on f4 and.
f4. Well,
bishop
c5 is definitely a move. Perhaps still queen f3 or no, but in case of
queen f3, knight f4.
Yes, so maybe you are forced to take here now.
Queen f3 would not work because knight f4 would come.
Yes.
A little tactical idea.
So now perhaps d6, or even, I don't know if f6 might also be playable sometimes. One of these pawns should move.
In order to prevent e5.
Yes, and keep control over the dark squares. I think f6 is quite interesting.
That's interesting because it still keeps the black queen in the in action on this diagonal.
Right, so you can still maybe play queen d6 and also.
Yeah, because if you don't play f6, rather play d6, there might be the idea of still promoting the pawn to f5 and then f6 immediately.
Right, if you play d6 and castle, there might be some f5, f6, and.
With the main ideas, if black would.
Okay, so he went for d6 anyway.
Okay, rook e1. Rook
yes.
a1 to e1, letting the other rook stay on f line. That would be deep.
Okay, so he wants to put pressure on d6.
It's always one of the most difficult tasks to understand where to put your rooks. Even more difficult if you have several options to decide from which rook to move and where to put it. E file, D file, which one is the best? Which one is going to be open and useful for you?
Where to put the black queen? I mean, if you were to castle here, I suppose.
Probably F5 idea is coming. Yes.
He did castle, but F5, F6 should be. Of course, you give up this E5 square, which is a very strong outpost for the knight. But on the other hand,
your king has been weakened.
Yes.
With the immediate mate threats, while the queen is coming to G5, H6.
Yes. Well, I would not.
So Sigirian is thinking, which is okay, because this is one of the critical moments. If he has to already take the action and force the the play or not?
Of course, it's a big confession. Let's say giving up the dark squares and this bishop on d3 and the knight might not be that useful, but you have but black doesn't have too many pieces defending the king. That's as true. Well.
That's true. This is why I also agree with you, and I would have preferred black playing f6 rather than d6.
Yes.
What are the other options for the white? For the white, rook f3.
We can we can just put our own analysis board here. Let's say f5 and knight e5, I guess.
f6.
f6 and already now you can't, of course, play g6 because
he comes in and mates you easily.
I don't know if you take perhaps.
Yes, taking on f6.
And rook takes.
Queen d8.
But doesn't help much, right? Because you can also double on the. Well, you can go queen d8, of course. Let's say rook f1. I don't know if maybe this knight can hold the position if you play.
No, it would be too slow. I mean, king h8 might be challenged with an idea of putting the. Oh, it doesn't work immediately. Queen h6 doesn't work yet. I was thinking of course, doubling the heavy pieces along the h file.
Right, h7 is weak. On the other hand, if black is in time to put the rook on g7, perhaps it's not. Maybe it's not an easy move to make anyway.
Yeah, but what are the alternative options for?
Well, I suppose perhaps you can play move like bishop b1, just hitting this pawn. Maybe that's even a better version. If you were to play rook d1, d8, you can still play
f5.
f5, even though c4 might be hanging. So you can play maybe bishop b1, rook d8, and b3 or something, and just keeping the tension. But
queen c7 or. But at every point you have to count with this f5, f6. Yes. Black not.
But right, white. Since white is of course still happy with a draw, because that would make him the winner of the whole tournament now. So he of course realizes that this position is not worse for him, just keeping it like this, let's say.
So what's happened in the game?
Right, he instead of bishop b1, he played bishop e2, and after rook d8, he played b3. So
I would prefer keeping the white squared bishop along this diagonal b1 to h7. I think it would be more massively playing and interviewing the black king with the potential tactical ideas in the midterm.
Perhaps, right. One idea might be, okay, queen b7, he played bishop h5. One idea might also be maybe to put the bishop on g4 when you play f5, and perhaps you can drop back to h3 and keep some pressure on the e6 pawn.
But then again, I think that the black is already showing the weakness of your idea, attacking the e4 pawn.
Right, but the black, it's...
No, you cannot just take it now while there is the sacrifice of exchange, or
right. If you take twice on e4, bishop f3 will
come back and take the rook on a8, yes. What shall we do?
The good thing for black is the time situation here. He has 12 against 6 minutes, and his position should
one piece
not be that bad.
Doesn't work is this rook on a8. Would it be wise to promote the pawn a5, a4? Well, I don't think that promoting f5 would be as strong yet, since the knight is coming to e5 and defending f7. I somehow need this extra piece coming into the game, the one that is not working yet.
Queen. I was also, yes, I was thinking about this move, perhaps coming out to h4. Now, of course, f5 is in the air once again.
Knight e5.
Sorry.
Knight e5, and you do not have this efficient promotion of f6. Okay.
Just he took on g6 and played f5. So
but it is dangerous. I would just take the pawn on f5
and takes back.
Not take the second time. Then
right. White wants to get a square here for the knight as well,
which I would not allow to do.
I don't know. Can you play perhaps queen f6?
Being scared of nothing.
Okay, you take here, and you will have to take with the queen, which is still.
Then I get the strong square on d5.
But perhaps that's okay. I'm not sure. Or I mean, maybe you don't really want to allow white to take on g6 here.
That's what I thought. Just g6 takes on f5 and then coming out with the second rook. With an idea, potentially, I don't know, bishop a8 and bishop and queen b7, using the weakness of this long white diagonal. And rook b8, for example, or okay.
Queen h4.
What happens? Okay.
Well, I guess one idea is if rook f4, he will perhaps go to g5.
Queen g5, yes.
Even though, I don't know, does it even... It's quite interesting, maybe. You can play f takes e6. And you can't take back because of rook f8 check.
Yes. Suddenly the queen uncovers and...
however, I don't know if you can play bishop takes g2 after f takes e6, but that's too messy, maybe, to figure out what's going on. I don't know, maybe white, I don't know, how is an endgame like this? I don't know if black can prevail.
The problem is that the black cannot go king f8.
Right.
Well, I'm just taking the pawn. Rook c8 or rook d7.
Yes. I suppose around equal an endgame like this.
Yeah, but we have to remember that the black player is the one who is forced to win the game. So at some point it might lead to some risk-taking action. One advantage is, of course, the time. As you mentioned, Alexander still has more than 10 minutes left on his clock, while Sasikirian less than 4.
Okay, he took, right. Well, you can maybe play queen e3 or something. Yes.
Queen e3.
Yes, right. This rook on a8 is a bit problematic for black. It's still not in action. It's difficult to develop.
Moves are needed. 2 moves are needed to get the rook in the game. Well, probably the next move that would follow would be rook g7.
Right.
Giving
and now,
space
of course, black
to the other. The threat mate.
has a threat of mate, right? So
Rook d2.
yes,
Rook d2. Isn't
well,
it?
in case of rook d2, I guess the idea was rook f8. So it might be.
Is there a possibility now to play? Oh no, I was thinking of something like d5, but the pawn is hanging on c5. It's not available yet.
I mean, it makes a difference which rook you defend g2 with, because in case of rook f8 now, perhaps you can take this pawn. It might be. It looks like that in case of rook d2, rook f8 is a move, because if you take, you still have queen takes g2 mate. Yes, the rook d7. Well, perhaps
The other rook ought to come into the game. That's right.
Well, of course, black would like to make your move d5. I guess that would definitely be an improvement. So, as you mentioned, this c5 pawn is not protected after d5.
How can a white improve?
Well, h3 is a move. He played it just, I don't know, kicking away the queen, making some air for the king, if it's ever needed.
Now probably white wants to exchange the queens with queen g3, and then put some pressure on d6 pawn, doubling the rooks.
Yes.
It's important not to allow to the black.
But in case of rook a d8, queen g3, then you are perhaps in time to exchange queen.
That's the only trick you have to avoid. Allowing black to promote the pawn d5 would be damaging to the white's advantage. So that's the thing you have to be careful about, not to allow promotion of the pawn. Then suddenly the weak pawn becomes a real strength, a passing pawn.
So rook a d8 would make sense here at this moment.
Rook a d8, yeah, rook f to d2. With an idea playing Queen G3.
But after, well, that was in case of Rook FD2. Is it possible to push D5 here? I'm not. Maybe it doesn't.
I think it's still.
Well, the idea was if Queen takes here, I wanted to take here, and I'm threatening this Rook, and you can't take because of the.
Yeah.
But
I can.
Maybe that's not. Well, you can also take here. For example, something like this might it might involve some kind of pawn sacrifice, but black can become active. Not well, he played Rook F8 instead. Yes, it's not clear. It's of course not clear that D5 should be played, even if it's
sacrificing the pawn.
Possible. So they exchanged one rook now. Well, I don't think black would mind a trade of queens. There are still some chances.
Bishop and the bishop and rook is stronger, not usually, than the bishop than the rook and knight.
And you can perhaps, well, you can at least have the threat of playing d5 in the end games as well. I don't know, white, well, this bishop is quite good on c6. White...
What happens, okay, now the king went back. I thought that there is a real threat of, not really threat, but the idea to put the rook on e2, threatening pawn on e6. Well, the king was still on f8, not now, because then rook e7 would not work because of check on f4 and taking a pawn on.
But still, rook e2 might be a good move. I mean, if you force the rook to e7, it's well, very difficult to play d5, but the d6 pawn can also be hit. I mean, in case of rook e7, perhaps you can play queen f4 or something, or queen d2.
Queen g2 seems to be very flexible.
Queen d2, yes. And black don't want to make a repetition here.
No, queen d2.
Queen d2 looks good, actually. And, well, of course, black don't want to push e5 here. That would spoil his position.
But if he wants to win in this position, I don't know how to do it. Queen d2 was played.
So I guess if rook d7, he will repeat. Oh, sorry, he will repeat once. And
the same scenario as in the previous game, yes, repeating and provoking the opponent to make a mistake.
Right. Yes, so it poses the question to black here. How do you intend to play here if you don't want to make a draw? And he played e5. Well, so now white also have the option of going knight d5 at any moment.
And e4 immediately would also be not a wise move. Well, the queen would block it, the pawn on e3.
Or maybe queen f4 might be a good move.
Or
the idea was, well, if you go e4, queen f4.
e3?
Yes, but in case of e3, I thought that I could give perhaps a check and play rook f4.
And get mate on g2. Hoo-hoo!
Oh, sorry. Okay, but I can still take, right? And give a check here. Maybe, right?
That doesn't work. Yeah, sorry.
But what I was also thinking about, if you play a move like rook f7, I can perhaps enter this end game with the.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, this is an option, but I would just simply play queen e3, block the pawn, make the white squared bishop blind, or
it looks
an efficient one. Put the hat on his eyes, and then look for the best time for further exchange.
Well, e4 was not played. Queen e6 was the move.
Yeah, the black player has to take unnecessary risks in order to try to win, which is, of course, for the benefit of white.
Okay, so he tries to reroute his knight here.
Playing d5 is inefficient right now because it would only make additional weakness in the black's position. c5 would start hanging. What to do? Yeah, the idea is to respond with a knight, put on e3 if the black tries to promote the passing pawn. The knight is the best blocker of such kind of passing pawns, while it's not allowing the promotion of the pawn, but playing itself, controlling so many squares. What do you think? What do you think? Is there an idea? Of course, it's weakening the black's position terribly badly, but knight, rook h7, and then trying to take the pawn on g2, some tactical ideas.
It's hard to find.
King h7, I didn't see the point in this move.
Well, he might go back. Somehow it feels like all pawn moves would just be in.
Unless you promote a5, a4, at least trying to get some rank for your black rook.
Right, it didn't work before when the queen was on d2. Of course, a5 was perhaps hanging.
Weakness, because the problem for the black is that there are no weaknesses in the white's position. There's no weak pawn unless they play too far and forget about mate on g2.
Right, I actually believe that the black king is the weak king after knight e3, and the knight might also come to f5 or something. So the black king is.
Yeah, but if you have some counterplay, I guess a5 might be an option now.
Yes, but even if you push a4 and take on b3, it doesn't give you that much. White.
Not that much, but at least some weakness on b3. I don't know if I do have so much time to make use of this weakness. Well, as you said, if the knight comes to my king, I wouldn't feel comfortable.
Right, knight e3, and maybe rook can come to f8 or something. Rook f8 might be annoying move, perhaps. Okay, so Krishna was very low on time, still below, still just under 1 minute, but now Alexander have been thinking for a while here.
Not so difficult to find the moves for the white pieces. It's a bit more difficult to find the counterplay for the black, since they have to win this game.
Knight is coming to e3 now. Well, of course, black have been thinking about these positions without one rook, I would assume, but
Queen and the knight is much stronger than the bishop and the queen.
Right. It would not benefit him because the combination of queen and knight is usually stronger than the one with queen and bishop.
What is the idea of the bishop being put on e4? I don't think any good ideas of how to involve it in the defense.
Right. If bishop g6, there might already be some kind of
tactics. Knight f6, and now it's also threatening to have this move. Knight f6 is a threat.
Perhaps white is I don't know. It looks very good for white.
Bishop on d3 and then promoting the pawn on e4 would not also help. It would just isolate the white squared bishop of the black. No, I think that the black's position is becoming very heavy, very difficult. Even more if you have to think of how to win this position. At this point yet, it seems a mission impossible. White pieces are harmonic, no weaknesses.
Okay, king h7. So now, okay, white can give a check here, forcing back the king once again. So
rook f8 is also an option.
Right. It might be that white is simply winning here by a couple of precise moves. Well, I would not. Maybe a move like, no, I was gonna suggest knight f6 might just simply win here.
Nice tactics. Nice tactics, yes.
And you're threatening the queen, but there is also a mate here on h6, of course.
You have to give the queen up.
Well, he will most probably even resign. Taking the rook here, but
sometimes, yeah. Okay.
But now we have queen h.
d7 and play with an extra exchange and just a winning position. Just a winning position. Rook g7 doesn't help saving the position.
So Alexander Chimano resigns, and the final is won by Saskiran Krishna by 2-0. So there were some final trick here that Alexander tried after rook g7, I guess, in case of queen h6 check, king g8, rook takes e6, black have rook takes g2. However, it
Alexander gambled, but it didn't help.
This would still just help him for making a draw, I suppose, but even better was, of course, to take this rook, and well, he resigned because this endgame is just hopeless for black since d6 is falling.
So congratulations to Saskiran winning the Rilton Winners Cup. as you said, he was struggling over the tournament a bit, but turned out that he had to was able to be more sustainable,
Yes,
more
he showed.
stable. Final 2 games. And actually, my impression was that Alexander did everything himself. I mean, that was probably blunder in the first game and then over pushing the second one, which was actually kind of logical because he had to fight for the win in the second game, which is very difficult to be done by the black pieces.
That was something that Krishna made well, was just to wait for the mistakes to come. And he showed that he was the player having
experience. Did we call it like that?
And let's say stamina or sustainability. He was able to avoid making any serious errors in this final.
Alexander was trying to play a dynamic chess, aggressive chess in the very final, which in this case seemed to be helping actually Krishnan to win both games.
Right. He didn't, I don't think that he really got what he wanted, because he somehow ended up in a kind of passive situation anyway. Or the problem was always that his rooks somehow, especially this rook on a8, never came into the game. These rooks were stuck on the first rank, and he had to defend this pawn on d6, which was not what he really wanted.
Actually, Krishnan played a very straightforward and simple chess. He saw that the one piece that is kind of disturbing the white promotion of f-pawn and kind of keeping the whole black's position still solid, it was the black knight on g6. So what he decided, he just went with his bishop after this knight. Not bishop e2, bishop h5, bishop takes on g6, like very, very straightforward. Yes, destroyed the strongest defending piece and then launching the attack or promotion of the pawns.
Right, he didn't want to have this bishop stuck behind the pawn chain here on b1 or something, and allowing this extremely strong knight on e5. So
my first reaction was, of course, to keep your bishop as the potential attacker, being directed towards the black king, not even thinking of giving it up for this clumsy knight. Yes, but he is right, because the black knight has been the strongest stone on which the held position was held.
Right, spending 3 moves on this exchange, and then much easier play after that. So the winner, Sasikiran Krishnan, will soon join us here to share his view on the 2 games, but perhaps
Krishnan, congratulations to both, to winning both of the games and the whole tournament, which has been a very strong one.
Thank you.
You've got strong nerves. That was our conclusion.
Thanks.
Okay, do you want to give you your assessment of these 2 games? We can go through them together. Well, this was the first game where you were Playing what?
First of all, I'd like to thank the organizers for giving me the opportunity to play. Yeah, I mean, I've been stuck at home for almost 10 months now,
Right.
and it's quite rare to get an opportunity to play at this moment. Yeah. So.
Did you have a feeling of going out?
Well, I mean, now that we have the second wave, yeah, I mean the mutation and so on. So basically, no way to go out, and it's more or less they're probably going to lock down quite quickly. Yeah. Yeah. Well, basically, I was not sure what to expect from the game because Shimano plays a lot of openings. Yeah. So I mean. It was quite difficult for me to prepare for everything. So basically, I was thinking maybe just to just to check his latest games because he has played a lot of blitz in this year. Yeah, so it's I mean all this title Tuesdays and so on, and also it's a good thing that there was a break between the semi-final and the final because. On those days, it was quite late here. I mean, for most of the days, I was almost sleeping at 12 or sometimes even 1 o'clock in the night.
We're not celebrating the New Year's Eve.
No way. Yeah, I was mainly concerned about recovering my sleep. Yeah, so basically, the last 2 days, I was sleeping most of the time. Yeah, just to get. To play, I mean, I understand. Okay, it's impossible to prepare for a player who plays so many things. Yeah, so maybe I thought, okay, just check a few things.
Charged your batteries, yes.
Yes, yeah. This was my preparation for the final. Yeah, and yeah, the first game, this was some kind of hybrid Slav. Yeah. Can move on a little bit, yeah. So just yeah.
Well, we
A5. Okay, I mean I have played A5 before. Yeah, it's quite common in the systems. Yeah, I mean just to go C4, knight F6, and
there is of course this kind of popular system with white.
Yeah, B4. Yeah, I mean I was okay. It's not easy to avoid the system, but. Is what he did after C4, knight F6. I think CD5 is the critical line, yeah, not B3 for sure. I mean, try to get the space in the center, takes knight D5, and then probably go E4 or something like this. Yeah. Something in the center, yeah.
Very strange Grünfeld variation.
Straightforward, very active and dynamic, no?
I already played this in Sitges in 2019, yeah. So I cannot say last year, so it was already. Yeah, I mean it's a complex game, yeah. So let's go back a little bit. So he played B3, castles, bishop E2, bishop F5.
C6.
Yeah, probably. I was not really sure because when I castled, I had the impression I thought he could not, move his pawns very quickly. But in the game, I felt quite dangerous when he started to play knight E5 and G4. Yeah.
I was posing the question to Jonathan. What does he think of potentially moving the pawns, advancing them, trying to cause some threat to the black king? And he was very skeptical. No, this would not work. But your opponent just did G4 at that point.
The problem is if I had something going in the center, I would not have been that much worried. Like, for instance, maybe some C5 or E5 break in the center. But if it's close and then he's just coming with some G4, H4, I kind of have the feeling that it could be dangerous for me. Yeah. So, okay, so knight E5, knight of D7, G4, bishop E6, knight D3. Yeah, knight D3. Yeah, somehow I really could not get C5 at this point. Yeah.
Because of knight F4, right?
No, I was thinking maybe just even to take on D5. Bishop D5 and then go E4 a little bit. It was completely crazy. I mean, bishop C6 and then to go D5, and then after bishop B5, You can take on d2. So bishop d5. It was some kind of position. I thought maybe this was possible. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, during the game, I felt like with the pawn on d5, knight on b8 is kind of looking a little bit stupid. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
I don't know. Maybe it is possible for black to play like this. Yeah. But yeah. So I went knight a6 at this point. Yeah. Oh no, knight b6.
Knight b6.
Knight b6. Yeah. I mean, I was trying to get some kind of grip in the position. For instance, let's say if he goes knight f4 or something, maybe he could have gone knight f4, yeah, which is what I think it's quite a reasonable move here.
Would you move back with your bishop?
Yeah, I was thinking bishop c8, yeah. It was some crazy idea. Perhaps now I'm trying to get in c5 somehow. No. I'm trying as black to get in c5. Yeah. So.
Right.
Or e5.
E5 maybe if it works. Yeah. If it works. Yeah. For instance, maybe knight d7 and e5. Somewhere to to break in the center. Yeah. I was not sure. Okay, so it goes on. Yeah. It's probably just another game. Yeah. So knight b6, c5, knight 6, d7. So obviously you cannot go knight f4 here because knight takes c5 is hanging.
Yeah, that's what we saw. But then probably he should have tried to be consequent and then promote h4 or.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. For instance, I think maybe he could go something like queen c2 here, perhaps. I was not sure.
Yes.
I was going to play maybe knight a6, maybe knight a6, maybe yes, knight f4. Yeah, so it's kind of tricky. But knight f4, I was not that much bothered. I was going to go b6 anyway.
But as the game developed, this pawn on g4 didn't look so good anymore. I mean,
it was just a pawn that has jumped out without any sense. Yes.
Of course, you cannot go backwards with the pawn once they have.
Yeah. Okay. So rook c1, knight a6.
It's the same that you cannot eat the word that you have said already. Yes.
Yes. It's yeah, true, quite true. So b6. Yeah. b4 takes. I was not sure about queen b8. Yeah, I mean, I was like, it's some kind of small trick. Yeah, I mean, I was threatening to take on c5 perhaps. Well, I was not even sure that the combination was even working. Yeah. For instance, after bc queen b8.
Yes.
I mean, if it was something like, let's say, castle or something here, I was not, instead of going rook b1, let's say it was castle, yeah. I was not sure even if I could take on c5 here. Because probably just, he simply takes with the pawn and then after bishop takes b2, rook b1. Yeah, so I'm probably losing something. Yeah. No, I was thinking maybe still it was not so easy, rook a2 here at this point, yeah. Because there was, no, I probably just queen c2, yeah. Yeah, so it's probably just winning a piece. So, yeah, maybe a queen b8 after castles. I would have to go something else. Yeah, something like knight b4. Maybe change this knight. Yeah.
Right.
Bishop c3 instead of.
Yeah. Well. Okay. Maybe just to take on d3 and then to. Probably, if I had a chance, I would probably even go f5 at some point. Yeah, I mean, once I take on d3 and then I can go f5. Yeah, because if you go g5, then I have probably f4. Yeah, I mean, it's to create some kind of play. Yeah.
Now probably knight f4 and bishop c3 at some point because
yeah,
your knight looks nice on b4, but it doesn't do much there.
Yeah, sure.
The idea is to exchange my strong one on d3. Yeah. But if I don't exchange, that might become tricky for yourself.
Maybe go back a little bit, probably not knight b4, perhaps. Maybe something else. I'm not really sure because
well,
can I go f5? It looked very dangerous. Yeah, maybe I can go f5 at this point. Yeah.
Knight f4? Oh, no, I cannot. My bishop is hanging still.
Well, you can, but okay, the bishop is hanging for the moment.
f7 and
f5, and if something like I don't know, h3, maybe g5.
Rook c3, allowing you to take on g4, and then trying to come forward with my queen if you exchange the bishops.
No, rook c3, I probably take on g4, yeah, and it's all right to me. Just wait, and then after bishop takes g4, probably something like knight c7. Bring the knight to this side.
Okay. You're not afraid of
I mean, I was thinking probably something like if you go, let's say, g5, for instance, the idea is to just, yeah, f4, yeah, and then just give the exchange. Okay, obviously he's not going to take it. Probably bishop g4, something like knight c7 and so on, yeah.
Perhaps rook b1 now, and you take, or?
Okay, let me take. Okay, if I take, let's say.
I take on g4 and then...
Take on maybe not immediately, maybe just knight c7 first.
Yeah. f4?
Yeah, f4 probably, and then to take f4, yeah. f4 probably, maybe to
Try
take
to
on...
control the e5.
f4 probably to take on g4 and then go knight f6, perhaps. Maybe there's some small tricks. Yeah, probably queen c8. Yeah, after queen g4, queen c8. Yeah. I mean, I really don't feel that much of a danger here. Yeah, I mean, once the side is open, yeah.
Right.
Because I always have a lot of piece play on this side. Yeah, maybe some knight b5, knight f6, and so on.
Yes.
So here he went to b1, I guess. Yeah, so b1, and now queen c7. Yeah, I guess he. Yeah. I guess he could go knight f4 at this point, but probably I was going to play rook of b8 anyway. So.
Yes.
Yeah. So castles. I guess I went rook of b8 again. Yeah. Okay.
But now it's not possible anymore, right?
Yeah, knight c5. Yeah. Yeah. This looks all right. I played knight f6. Yeah.
Right. You didn't really want to move this.
Somehow after f5, I thought after g5 is kind of somehow stuck. Yeah, and I can't get my knight to e4. Yeah, so it's a bit of lacking a lot of space here. Yeah, so
yes.
I thought this might be good for white. Yeah.
Both of these bishops are also.
Yeah, it looks a little bit stupid. Yeah. So knight f6 was kind of a normal move. And also I was trying to get in knight e4 at many point of time, just in case if he could take on e4, probably I get d5 for the other knight. Yeah.
All right. So this was the first time that you invited him for a repetition, right?
Yeah, well, okay. I mean, I thought a draw with the black pieces is a fair result. Yeah, so why not to at least try let him try to show some ideas in this position if there is something. Yeah, I'm not sure. Probably once we check with the engine, it probably gives completely different evaluation. It looks all right for both sides, but somehow I have the feeling that my pieces are somewhat better placed if something opens up. Yeah.
Right.
And I have 6. Yeah, looks all right to me. Bishop c1. Yeah, here I already thought maybe there are some problems. Yeah, because now he's kind of stuck here. Yeah, this side. Yeah, and he's not able to make any normal moves. For instance, I was already maybe threatening knight e4.
Yes.
Maybe. I was not sure, but maybe because even if I lose the pawn, I thought his king side is a bit open, and then with the queen coming in as on the b file, I thought it might be pretty good compensation.
The white queen is overloaded.
And you,
yeah.
Perhaps you can include this move at some point.
Yeah,
like
I think that this, yeah, sometime. Like for instance, here he probably went rook a3, I guess. Yeah, rook a3. Yeah.
Yes, and you traded one rook.
Takes knight b5. Looks all right to me. Bishop b2. h5. Yeah. Okay, I was not sure whether this was a good move, but I decided it's not too bad. Yeah, like I mean, you kind of increase the tension on the king side. Yeah, and he cannot play knight f3, knight g5 because g4 is not handy. So yeah, so king g2 and knight d6. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I was hoping that okay, some kind of activity, yeah, because if I keep passive, maybe can somehow improve on the king side, yeah. So just an idea to change something a little bit.
Right, and here.
Yeah, maybe knight e4 was probably a better idea. Just to go with knight e4.
And he will have to take.
Yeah, probably, and then if they take, then just take with the knight. Yeah.
Yeah, that was our initial idea, that you are just transferring your knight to e4 with this small tactical.
Yeah, but I mean, time was quite short, so I was not really sure what to play for. Yeah, so maybe this was better. Yeah, and here maybe white is in a little bit of trouble, perhaps.
Yes. I don't know if you can. Is it possible to do something like this? Maybe not. You just take your.
You're just losing the pawn on h3 afterwards.
Well, I wanted to.
Yeah. Well, maybe not f4 immediately. Yeah, I really don't need to do f4 immediately. I just. I mean, this bishop on c1 is not going to come out anytime soon. Probably I can just simply
bishop h6 or something.
Move to the, for instance, let's say bishop h6. Yeah. Here.
Right. The problem is, of course, that this bishop don't really come into the game or the.
And king.
Yeah, move the king and then probably come to the g file and so on.
But this looks good for you.
Yeah, probably I should have played knight e4. But I mean, the time was short, so I kind of repeated moves here. Yeah.
Perhaps he would have played rook h1 here anyway, but of course he should not have gone rook h1 in the game.
But I was thinking maybe if he takes on d6, it was probably nothing. Was it? Like I mean, I could take on b2 and then he takes on e7. I thought I could get the pawn back, but with the two bishops and so on, maybe I could latch on to e3 later. Is it good for black? I was not sure during the game.
Like queen d7?
Maybe queen e8 or queen d7. No.
You go queen e8. No?
Queen e8, for instance, let's say, and then maybe something like no. This probably I can just take. Yeah. Yeah, maybe it's okay for me. And, it's not sure completely.
Yeah, but why not queen d7? Because then you prevent also g5.
Maybe queen d7. Yeah, maybe. I was thinking where something like queen c1. Probably I can just go rook a2. Yeah?
Rook a2, and that's okay. Yes.
Yeah, maybe it's all right. No, I mean with the queen on d7, I thought maybe he has some f5 tricks. I was not sure, so just in case to have the possibility to go back with the bishop. Yeah, just bishop e7 and then take the pawn. Yeah. So maybe it's not working at all. Just yeah, probably this was okay. So he went bishop c1, knight b5. I mean, I thought at some point, okay, draw is fair result. Okay, maybe this knight e4 is much better, but let's move on to the game. Rook h1, I think, is just a blunder. Yeah.
I don't know. He did inform us after the game that he got some issues with the computer, and that's why he lost on time. But of course, he played. He did play rook h1, which seems to be a huge mistake, right? He should.
Yeah. Now it's probably just winning for me.
He should have. Well, I guess he should have gone for the repetition at this moment.
Yeah.
Realizing that perhaps maybe even black is the one with the better position, or okay, he should make the draw here, but of course this allowed the knight c3, and the g4 pawn was
so I think after this it's fairly clear.
Yes, and this this was kind of hopeless. This setup with the bishop and knight was also quite strong. He cannot touch them, and now well, yes.
Yeah, the queen is coming, so it should be.
And and here, well, even if he defends, you can just take here, I guess.
Yeah.
So the only move was actually knight e1 or something?
It should probably be gone anyway. Just for instance, queen e4, right? Should be queen e4.
Yes, I think it would be anyway very bad position. I mean, you cannot keep this long.
I was thinking maybe he could try for a little trick with queen a2 at some point. The last trick, yeah.
Something with
something like queen a check, but probably I can just take and then go bishop f8. So it should be winning. Yeah, I guess so.
Right, we can have a look at.
It was a very tense game, but you seem to be controlling the situation. So good game for you.
Thank you. Yeah, I was not sure what to really expect. Yeah, because he had this. He had to play for a win. Yeah, so okay, e4, b6. I clearly did not expect. Yeah, so yeah, let's just go on. Okay.
Yes, he had probably played the Caro-Kann or the Scandinavian or those kind of structures earlier, so he wanted to make it a little bit more dynamic. I suppose.
Yeah, this is fairly standard stuff. I'm trying to get some kind of Maroczy mind here.
Yes.
I was not sure about knight. Maybe I thought he could go bishop c5 first, yeah, instead of going knight e7.
Yes.
So knight c3, bishop e3, f4 looks all right to me.
Now f4 and bishop c5, yeah.
Yeah, takes and queen d2.
No, we thought probably f6 might be a bit more dynamic.
Maybe that's on opportune. Sorry, on other way.
Yeah, it could be possible, but I mean, at some point when I go, I was not sure. Maybe they just, for instance, like b3 and then queen e3. Probably have to play d6 anyway. I just also one of these ideas, like I could just go rook a d1 at this point. And for instance, let's say you got to go castle. Yeah, I'm not sure what else you could do here. Something like b3. And if something like a5, I was thinking maybe just to go something like a4. Yeah, some kind of trick. Yeah, this is. And then put the knight on b5, yeah, just.
Right. Perhaps this idea with queen b8 and bishop c5 didn't work out that well. I guess you can play with bishop e7 or something here.
Yeah, but I was going to go f4 anyway, yeah, so you need to do something about this.
This idea seemed to be very creative with queen b8 and bishop c5.
That's what we thought was gonna
but you
be.
were very goal-oriented in destroying this black knight, which was holding the black's position.
Yeah, I thought that if I go f5 directly, then he just puts his knight on e5. Yeah, and maybe, I mean, I could still play f6 and break this position, but somehow with the knight on e5, I was not sure. Yeah.
Yes, we did.
For instance, something like king h8 and rook g8 now.
Yes.
And I thought it might be a little bit not easy with the knight on e5, so I thought why to give this opportunity? Yeah.
Yes, it would be kind of risky for white as well. It looked, but afterwards we liked your idea here. Just
spending 3 moves just to destroy
this knight.
Yeah, well, also it's kind of easier because I just needed a draw, yeah, so kind of exchange pieces a little bit. So why not?
Because for me, the first reaction would be bishop b1, keeping it on the diagonal, aimed at the black king. But then, of course, probably f5 is less efficient if it's been blocked by knight e5.
Yeah. I think bishop h5 is a nice idea. Just
nothing to be scared of. Yes.
So queen e7, takes and takes f5.
You can give very nice lessons to the kids on the positional play.
Yeah. So. Okay, I think this was quite a decent idea. For instance, like to take and queen h4 was, I thought what he should try to get out somehow. Otherwise, I simply take on g6 and then come with queen e3 and queen g3, and one of the pawns is probably falling here.
Perhaps, well, I tried to play queen f6 here. I don't know if it looks like a move.
Queen f6.
You can take, of course, if you want.
Yeah, but actually, I want to take on g6 for some reason.
And then I wanted to take with the queen instead, but perhaps that's not much of an improvement.
Something like
doesn't work.
Sorry.
No. I'm trying to get something like rook f3 and then try make this work. Maybe.
Does it work immediately? Bishop takes e4?
rook g3, for instance, and yeah, well, it's a nice situation for me. I could at least just repeat the moves. Yeah.
Yeah, you can.
So why not?
Well, of course, he wanted to open the position somehow.
Yeah.
So to keep some chances, but in fact, well, you are the one more active, and the black king is more vulnerable than yours.
Yeah. So queen e3, I think is all right, I believe, and queen. Yeah, here I think rook f2 was important. Yeah, I was first going to play rook d2, but then I thought rook f8 might be possible. Yeah, and then somehow this rook f1 might be a check. Yeah, so
Right.
so and if after rook f2 if he goes rook f8, then I could simply have h3 at this point.
We even thought that it was possible to take, but maybe not. Or maybe you can take in the next move after h3.
Yeah, I mean, for instance, I was thinking rook f2 and then ag4, rook g2 check, and then just king f1, and if rook f8 check, just king e1. Yeah.
And nothing more.
Yeah, I didn't say anything during the game, and at least I have knight e2 at the point. So, yeah, and h3, queen g6, and now it's kind of a half move. Yeah, I mean, I really don't know what I had to be doing, so I just play king h2. Yeah, and just keep things a little bit safe.
Let him think.
Yeah, and he changed roots. Maybe I was not sure. I was thinking they could try a5, but you're never sure about it.
That's what I also thought. Probably try to at least some
That's
weak
perhaps
flank.
better with the rook, of course.
Yeah. Also, because after a4, I thought a5, I could simply go a4 and knight b5 next year. So trying to get the d6 pawn. Yeah. So it was not a easy decision for him to make. I mean, if he takes on b5, I just get a pass pawn on the queen side as well. So why not?
Right.
So takes rook b2. Here probably he should try king e7. Yeah, at least I would have tried it. Yeah. I mean, my idea was like, for instance, we go knight d5, bishop d5, and no, knight d5, for instance, bishop d, knight d5, bishop d5, e d5, sorry, bishop d5, c d5, e5, and somehow, you know, to get move the king to the queen side and get rook f7 or so on.
Right.
Looks like draw to me, but okay, at least he can play on for a while. Yeah. So even king g8, I think rook f2. I played rook f2.
Yes, because already here.
No, first rook e2. Yeah, rook e2 is quite nice.
Already here, you are forcing him to a repetition or to make this e5 move.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he can go back, but then I suppose that you would repeat.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Yeah. Here. What did you do here? I meant rook f2. Yeah. Here, so there was some small calculation. Yeah. For instance, e4, and I was thinking probably I could go queen f4 at this point.
We also calculated that one,
Yes,
but queen e3 is also enough.
Yeah, probably queen e3. But queen e3, I was thinking maybe he could go queen e6. Yeah, and I was not sure that he's getting queen e5 check and queen d4.
Mm-hmm. Right, so
I was thinking queen f4, and if queen e6, for instance, at this point, queen e6, I was going to go knight d1 simply, and then put the knight on e3. If e3, just rook e2, and then I win this one.
We did. Well, we did see this. This
take and queen h4 check and queen f2. Yeah.
Combination, right?
Yeah. I think it's this position. I think he has already some problems because all this pawn islands and then even slightly better king. And worse for him, he cannot exchange queens. Yeah, this ending is probably just lost. Yeah, just knight comes to e3, rook to d2, and then I start moving the h pawn. I mean, king side. Yeah.
Well,
I think it's he basically here it's already gone. Yeah, I mean just knight is coming to f5, I believe. Yeah.
Yes.
So bishop e4, knight g4. Yeah, right. I think the money line was to go rook f7 at this point, and I thought I had a combination knight h6 check. Yeah. h6. Queen takes h6, and queen d8 check, king h7, and rook f7. Maybe he has bishop g2 at the end, yeah. So maybe it's not such a good combination.
Which move?
Now he can take on g2, yeah.
Rook f8.
Queen h3 and queen.
Oh no, sorry, yes.
So maybe rook f7.
Well, of course you can at least.
Yeah, I can at least make a draw. So that is always kind of an additional option. Yeah. So.
Right, and in case of something like this, you have.
Yeah, simply go knight f6 check. Yeah, so that's winning anyway. So knight f6 check now anyway.
It worked well even here.
Yeah, anything.
Right.
The desperate trick, which also.
Yes. This.
Rook g2 check. Yeah.
Draw, yeah.
For making a draw in the.
Okay.
But of course, you took here, and he did resign in this position, and that was it. And you are the winner of the Rilton Winners Cup.
Krishnan, when was the last time you won the Rilton's Cup? Was it 2017?
Yeah, probably. So it's like the end of 16 and 17 maybe, yeah.
Yes, and which one was more difficult back then, over the board or now?
No. Over the board chess is, of course. I mean, in the prelim, I mean this the pre-quarterfinals, I was basically struggling with everybody, yeah, and I managed only to win in Armageddon twice, yeah. I mean somehow, I think it's much more difficult to win over the board games somehow. It's okay, but it's not as difficult as normal games. Yeah, normal games are much more difficult, and also both players get a lot of time to prepare. Yeah, so you cannot really compare this with normal games. Yeah.
You do not get more nervous when you're playing online.
No, I perhaps I do get nervous, but it's somehow I feel it's more if you are fast enough. I don't think you can even lose on time. Yeah, because playing with the mouse it's somewhat easier than playing with hands. Yeah.
Really?
I don't know. It's just my idea. Yeah. I mean, you can sometimes you can even make some pre-moves, yeah, and then you're not really losing on time, yeah. I mean, if you're playing really fast and quickly, yeah.
Which one was your most difficult match in this?
I think the first one, yeah, against Gurevich, yeah. I was practically struggling, yeah. I mean, so the first game, I think I won with the white pieces, but it was eventually the position was slightly better for me in the end game. I mean, I reached his opposite color bishop end game, but he lost on time in this one. And the second game, I completely messed it up. Like I had a decent compensation for a pawn, like 2 bishops, but then I flagged. Yeah, like somehow I lost on time. This was quite difficult, and the Armageddon. I missed a very nice possibility in the end game. Yeah, actually, it was quite good for me. I missed a certain f5 break. Yeah, in the end, when my knight was on d4 and king was on d6. Thought it was a draw, but it's not so easy after f5. Yeah, I mean his bishop was on a4. Yeah, at some point, and after f5, if he takes on f5 with a g pawn, and then I could get g6 and then somehow collect king e6 and so on. Yeah. So once I missed this this idea, when I played c4, I think the position was drawn. Yeah, and then eventually he lost only on time. Yeah, the position was a draw. Yeah.
But you did not get too disappointed. You could pull yourself together and then come to the very final and win. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Fighter. So Jonathan, I understand that we still have some celebration procedure that Dan Haglund is joining us.
Yes, Dan Haglund is joining us here. He's the chairman of the Rilton committee. I don't know if he's here or already, but
he's here. He's coming with warm congratulations to you, Krishnan.
Thank you. Thank you. I would like to mention one thing. Basically, Krishnan is the family name. Yeah, Sasikiran is my name. Yeah.
Right.
It's normally it's the many times Europeans, they have different idea about this. Yeah.
Right.
Just like to clarify things here. Sasikiran is my name. Yeah.
Right. Sasikiran. Yes.
Yeah.
Dan Haglund, Mr. The floor is yours.
Hey, you hear me?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, our tournament is completed. Good. And the Rilton committee will salute the winner. Hooray, Christian, hooray.
Thank you.
The pricing ceremony is very simple this year, isn't it? The payment will be done via internet, and that's it. So we think we have had a very interesting event, and we will thank all participants that had made this possible. Thank you all. A special thanks.
Thank you for giving me an opportunity to play. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. A special thanks, of course, to our splendid commentators. And Donna, we are very pleased to have had such a charming lady with us. Thank you very much.
It was my pleasure to accompany Sasikiran's victory.
Okay. Okay, next time in December, we will hopefully meet again in Stockholm, celebrating our 50th anniversary. So we look forward to that event.
Sure.
So everybody, thank you very much. And we will wish you all better New Year next year.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.
Sasikirian, Happy New Year. And you also have
Happy New Year to you too. And,
you have an opportunity to wish something to all the chess players who have left themselves behind you in this tournament. What would you wish them in this new year?
Well, I hope the vaccine for corona is found and everybody gets to a normalcy. Yeah, I think I'm only hoping that it will happen very soon. Yeah, because staying inside the home, okay, maybe for chess players it's not too much because they can work, but for kids it's very difficult. Yeah, to not able to play and so on. Yeah, so I'm just hoping that the vaccine will be found soon and then everything will come back to normal quite quickly. Yeah. I wish for a quick, recovery to normalcy for everyone. Yeah.
Can I just ask you one question before you leave?
Sure.
Do you do anything else except from playing chess? Do you have like a civil job or?
I have a job. I'm working with the Oil and Natural Gas Corporation. It's a government company in India, but it's more like a sponsorship. Yeah, I am allowed to work at home. I mean, I can stay home and work on chess. Yeah.
All right. So
it's also I mean, there's a lot of sports persons with the company. I mean, other sports as well. Yeah, badminton and cricket and so on. Yeah, so a lot of they encourage a lot of other sports as well. And I'm quite proud to be associated with them. Yeah.
We should also thank all the sponsors of Rilton Winners Cup. Some of them are
Yeah, I thank all those sponsors for this tournament and the Rilton committee and everyone who has worked to make this tournament happen. Yeah.
Yeah, I also think that the organizers of the tournament have deserved a big thanks and warm hugs for allowing the professional players to get active, to play this tournament and feel themselves useful and operational, if I may say so, and to all the organizers and arbiters as well. And you, Jonathan, you've been the one holding on all the tournament in commentary.
Yeah, I have tried to manage this as best as possible. Well, I think that this will conclude our broadcast now for the tournament. So once again, nice having all the players playing, and a special congratulations to Saskia, and of course great having you here, Dana. And
thank you.
Looking forward for the 50th Anniversary Cup.
Yes, and we hope that this year will offering more than the last one. So with that, we thank you, everybody who have been watching, and well, see you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Take care.
A premium membership at chess.com will help you improve your game with full access to a powerful set of learning tools. Unlimited tactics let you practice like a master, with more than 50,000 puzzles to challenge you at every level. Our library of interactive chess lessons, created by master coaches, will enhance every aspect of your game. And after each game you play, the computer analysis feature will give you feedback on every move you played, turning every game into a chance to learn. And that's not all. Premium benefits also include unlimited tournaments, video lessons, the Opening Explorer, and much, much more. Upgrade now to take your game to the next level.